Okay guys, hey, it's what are we, Wednesday, so we're already at day 3. That's pretty quick. I don't mind telling you, it seems to be going pretty smoothly. I'm getting tons of participation, so keep signing on online, doing your tasks every day. It's a great way to stay sharp at it. Also, thanks for all you that are watching the PSA videos I'm putting out. I hope those are fun. I hope some of you are attempting those coin tricks or anything like that, just something to give you some extra time as a non-academic challenge. I will also be posting what the movie for the weekend is going to be if you guys are interested in doing that again on Friday. But with that being said, today our main lesson is on reflections. Okay, and if you remember, reflections were that part of the song where we're flipping across an axis. So we're either flipping across the x-axis or the y-axis, depending on how you look at it. Now, a couple key things we want to note about reflections versus translation is that reflections keep the same shape. They keep the same size. However, they have different orientations, and all orientation means is the way they are facing, so how they facing one another. So when I say different or the way they're positioned, okay, so like for example with translations, when you move something, it's still facing the same direction it was before you moved it, so your orientation stays the same. However, in this case, whenever you see a reflection happen, you see the shapes are now facing each other. Okay? And what that looks like is, let's just say we had this shape up here and we reflected it across the y-axis, so it's going to reflect over here. Notice how when the reflection's over, now that shape is facing one another. And that's all a reflection really is. That's how you can tell a reflection really happens. It stays the same size, stays the same shape, but now it's facing one another. Okay? If I took this same shape here and reflected it across the x-axis, it would be down here and it would look kind of like this more so. It's harder to tell on that one that's facing each other, but you can see how this is a little bit shorter, like here. That's the one that's leading in top, so it did flip over one another. Okay? Now, that's all fine and dandy to see, but it also helps if we can find coordinates on this, especially as we're going through these. So let's just take a few examples. We'll put a point here, and this is point, we'll call it point A, and it's at 2, 3. We're going to put point B over here at -3, 1. Okay, so we have those 2 points, and let's just see what happens. Let's start with point A, and let's reflect point A across the x-axis. Okay, when I'm saying the x-axis, I'm talking about my horizontal axis that crosses my origin. So that's my x-axis right there. So I'm going to be reflecting it down. Okay, so to do that, we count down to my line of reflection, which is my x-axis. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3 units. And then I'm going to count 3 units off my line of reflection. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be my A prime shape. And A prime in this case is going to be at, oh sorry, I went down. I did that badly. I went in an angle. So that's going to be my A prime is going to be at, still at 2, but now it's at -3. And when we talked in class, we did that little protest song where we're like, when you reflect shapes across the x-axis, the x stays the same and the y gets flipped. Okay, that's all that's happening here. When we go across an axis, my y value is getting flipped, my x is staying the same. So that's actually a rule for the x-axis, is the x stays the same, the y gets flipped or becomes its opposite. Okay? So that's our first rule that we deal with these. Now, let's look at what happens when we take this line here, or this dot here, and we put it across my y-axis. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did for my x-axis, which is count to my line of reflection. So 1, 2, so I have to go 3 units to the right, and then I'm going to go 3 units off it. So it's going to be right here. So this is my B, this is my B prime, and it's going to be at 3, 1. Now, you can see, just like with my x-axis, that my y stayed the same this time, but my x got flipped. And that was like that when we reflect shapes across the y-axis, the y stays the same and the x gets flipped. Whatever axis you're going over, that coordinate stays the same, the other one gets flipped. So my rule for the y-axis is the y stays the same and the x gets flipped. Okay? So it should be a super simple lesson for you today. We're just going to have you recognizing reflections in your quizzes. For the matching, you're going to be looking at what axis we're reflecting across and then finding the new coordinates for those. But just in all, it should be a pretty simple task for you to do today. Tomorrow we're going to get a little more complicated because we're going to combine all three things as we review for the short little quiz that you're going to have on Friday. So on Friday you get kind of lucked out without having to deal with the lesson. You can review all the past lessons, but then jump in and just take the quiz on Friday. You don't have to worry about going through a Nearpod or anything. So I hope things are going well. I will have a PSA coming out by 3 today. I'm going to do Bite to Go at Salk, so it's going to take out a couple hour chunk of my day. So I probably won't throw that tutorial up or the video of me up trying to do the coin trick that I'm terrible at. But like I said, if you guys are mastering that coin trick and you can get a video link to me, I'd love to see how you do, because I think it's fascinating when people get good at that stuff. Work hard on these today. Should be a pretty quick and easy lesson. So enjoy your day. Thank you.